champions of the world, Denver Broncos.
And is caught for the win.
Danny Willett has won the Masters. Jason Day, major champion.
Touchdown, Alabama. Philanoa.
In just about half an hour from now, a packed house at Gillette Stadium will be anxiously awaiting the kickoff of the AFC Championship game between two of the league's most storied franchises, the Steelers and the Patriots. Game time temperature will be in the 40s with scattered showers in the area.
And, JB, there is Tom Brady getting ready to play in his 11th conference final. Joe Montana played in 7. Bradshaw, Staubach, and Elway all played in 6. That's why he's the greatest of all time.
And there's the leader of the Killer Bees, Ben Roethlisberger, who's on a mission trying to go to his 4th Super Bowl and 3rd ring.
And that's another B. That's LeGarrette Blount, the former Pittsburgh Steeler in Week 7. As you can see, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns. Looking to match that again tonight.
And finally, there is Mr. Patient, the best all-around running back in the NFL. That's Le'Veon Bell, and he is the first player in NFL league history to average 100 yards rushing and 50 yards receiving in a full season.
All right, Tony, and tonight, it's a battle between two formidable offensive powers as TB12, that will be Tom Brady, and the New England Patriots face off against the Pittsburgh Steelers led by the Killer Bees, Big Ben, Le'Veon Bell, and Antonio Brown. And hello, everyone, and welcome to this special playoff edition of the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines. I'm James Brown with the full house. These guys are champion at the bit. They will be Tony Gonzalez, Coach Bill Cowher, Bart Scott, and Boomer Esiason. Folks, we can't wait to get started here. But first, let's hear from the guys who will be calling the action, Jim Nantz and Phil Simms, as they set the scene in Foxborough. Hello, Jim.
Hello there, JB. I think we're going to have a little more competitive game than they're having right now in the NFC Championship game. And you guys talked about all the stars, and, of course, we'll have a full game to expound on that a little bit. I want to hear from our guy right here, Super Bowl MVP, who the unsung heroes might be in this one. First for New England.
Well, there could be a lot of them, that's for sure. When you talk about these two teams, they're so talented. But I look at New England, I think of Julian Edelman. And why do I bring his name up? An offense that was built around Rob Gronkowski's blocking, his pass receiving down the field. They losing, so they just switched to a shorter passing game where they move Edelman all around the field. Tom Brady has a lot of trust in him. And the one thing about this New England receiving core you got to talk about, he leads it. When they catch the football, they're the best in the NFL getting yards after the catch.
Let's get away from the 3 Bs on the Pittsburgh side for a moment. Tell me someone else we might be looking out for here today.
Well, a second-year guy, Bud Dupree, an outside linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. When you play the New England Patriots, what do? You got to find a way to pressure the quarterback. He was a first-round pick. He's got 5 sacks in the last 6 games. He's learning on the fly. And, of course, when you talk about linebackers, he's learning from some other really good pros. How about James Harrison? Plays every single play of the game. 14 years in the NFL, great against the run, can sack the quarterback at 5'11". He gets under those blockers and gets back there and makes it happen.
Looks like 10 years ago with James Harrison. Meanwhile, it is drizzling. It has been misty for a couple of hours, and it's breezy. Will this affect the quarterback play at all here in this game?
I think the quarterbacks this time of year, they would take this kind of weather. I don't think it'll affect them at all.
Can't wait to get this one started. JB, back to the whole gang in New York. We'll see you shortly.
All right, Jim and Phil, and we are looking forward to the report and the call of that game for sure. All right, folks, expectations clearly high in this matchup. What are you most excited about?
I'm going to go off a little bit of what Phil talked about, and that's the defense coordinator, Keith Butler, for the Pittsburgh Steelers versus Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator, and the guy, the answer man for Tom Brady there. You got to figure out how to block Dupree and Harrison. The 3-4 defense is a pain in the neck when it comes to pass protections. Let's see how Josh McDaniels goes after Keith Butler and his defense. And then, of course, there's Ben Roethlisberger, Bart, as he gets ready before the game to handle some maybe errant snaps in the shotgun.
I tell you what, Big Ben versus Matt Patricia is going to be a key matchup. You talk about the New England Patriots, the #1 scoring defense. Big Ben's going to have to be patient. You know, in the last couple of weeks, New England's been dropping 8. Big Ben's going to have to take what the defense gives him and understand that he has to be in a hurry but not in a rush and take advantage of what the defense gives him.
Well, listen, it's all about Bill Belichick going against this offense. We all know what he likes to do, and that's take away your strengths. And what I'm looking at are the matchups. Malcolm Butler, he shadowed Antonio Brown in that Week 7 game. Antonio Brown had 7 catches for 100 yards, but also Malcolm Butler had an interception in that game in the end zone. And the other one is going to be Alan Branch, the nose, going against Marquise Pouncey, the center. that game in the trenches in terms of trying to stop Le'Veon Bell in that running game.
Yeah, well, let's go back over to Tom Brady, okay, the golden boy of the New England Patriots. He didn't play well last week against the Houston Texans. He threw 2 interceptions. He had only thrown 2 interceptions all year, but look at his record at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers, 4-0. Look at the touchdown-interception ratio, 15 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Never go against a Hall of Famer after he plays a bad week like Tom Brady did last week. I look for him to come out and be a special football player this week.
Bart's comments about being a bit in a hurry but not too fast reminds me of our high school coach who says, be in a hurry with patience. It is. All right, folks, it's been an eventful week for the Steelers, and that's putting it mildly, dealing with the social media fallout created by Antonio Brown. And for more on that, here's our NFL Today insider, Jason Lockenforward. Jason?
Well, JB, Brown's Facebook Live post made waves around the league. It won't get him hit very hard in the wallet, though. A team source told me Brown fined less than $20,000 for his transgression. The Steelers learned this wasn't the first time he'd broadcast from their locker room. It will be the last time, though, now that Mike Tomlin has intervened. Of more concern to the Steelers, the flu bug going through their locker room this week. I'm told several players at less than 100%. Some need IVs before the game. Some may need them during as well. Keep an eye on that. Kyle Shanahan, mere minutes away from securing a trip to the Super Bowl as the Falcons offensive coordinator. I continue to hear the 49ers will do whatever it takes this week for him to agree to be their next head coach. And across the bay, the Raiders will start contract extension talks with Jack Del Rio this week. JB, I don't think that process will take very long.
All right, Jason, flu bug. Any concerns?
No, talking to people in Pittsburgh, there's no concern. Sometimes, JB, you can have your best game when you had the flu because you know what? It forces you to focus greater. And talk about having best games. How about the playoffs that James Harrison is having? 38 years old, in the 2 wins, 2.5 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, and 4 tackles for loss. That boy can play.
That boy good.
Antonio Brown and the Killer Bees hope to carry Pittsburgh all the way to Houston, but the Patriots have their own bees.
Touchdown, Patriots! This is Tom Brady time right here.
And they're ready to try and take the sting out of the Steelers' upset bid. Last week, Dion Lewis shined in the Patriots' win against the Texans. And if the Steelers hope to pull out a victory, they'll need to slow down New England's most versatile weapon.
Welcome to the playoffs, Dion Lewis.
Tonight at Foxborough, 2 legendary NFL franchises go into battle. One is out to prove its worthiness, while the other is on a mission to cement its legacy. That's all coming up on the NFL Today. The NFL Today on CBS Sports is presented by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
New England is happy to have a healthy Dion Lewis for tonight's conference title game. While the Patriots' offense sputtered in the divisional round, Lewis, the next man up, saved the day with a breakout performance against Houston. And with that in mind, let's have a look back on his record-setting day in this edition of Real Possibilities presented by AARP.
Dion Lewis. Look at this speed. Lewis ahead of steam. Touchdown. Welcome to the playoffs, Dion Lewis. To the 20, he's got blazing speed. 30-yard line. Lewis is going to break it. It's a foot race, and nobody's going to catch Dion Lewis.
Coast to coast kickoff return for a touchdown.
His second touchdown of the night. Give to Dion Lewis, surging forward toward the goal line. Dion Lewis to the end zone.
Nobody has ever done what he did in NFL postseason history.
Touchdown receipt, a touchdown on special teams, a touchdown on the ground. Dion Lewis.
Why is Dion Lewis so important, guys? Take a look at some of these numbers. They are 15-0 when he is in the lineup. Now, not everybody has to be happy about this. I would imagine LeGarrette Blount's not so happy about it because his numbers have gone down since Dion has come back. And when you play against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense, what I would fully expect Josh McDaniels to do is try to spread this defense out. Multiple wide receivers. You got White and you got Lewis in the backfield. Try to create mismatches with formations, personnel groups, things of that nature. And above all, get Tom Brady in that up-tempo offense because that's when he's at his best.
Well, if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm taking a page out of the Houston Texans last week. With A-gap pressure, getting Tom Brady on the move, his accuracy drops down tremendously, but you can't do it with the second-level defenders. You have to make sure that you isolate those guys, which are outside linebackers, putting a quicker athlete over the center, and see how the Patriots adjust to that.
I know one thing. Dante Scarnecchia this week has been working on those A-gap blitzes all week long. That you can bet on it.
Well, you guys can't talk enough football. I know it. I
got some more.
Love it,
JB.
I'm going to hold it in.
So let's run our game analysis through the Insight Center presented by IBM Watson, which is focused on ground control. And the magic number in this equation is 90. When Le'Veon Bell rushes for 90 or more yards, Pittsburgh is perfect at 9-0. But the Patriots have not allowed a single rusher to gain 90 yards in 24 straight games. And they did a pretty good job of holding Bell to 81 yards rushing in Week 7.
Yeah, they did, JB. Remember, Ben Roethlisberger did not play in that game. Landry Jones did. But what the New England Patriots do is they take away your strength. And Le'Veon Bell is going to be the primary focus. When you watch what they did in that first game, one of the things they did is they brought Devin McCourty into the box. That's 8 in the box right now because they want the extra defender covering up the center, covering up the 2 guards. And with the 8 in the box right now, what you're trying to do is create a situation where every gap is filled. Talk about the matchup. Branch on Pouncey right in the middle. Watch the integrity of the gap control. And Landon Roberts will be where 91 is right now, Collins. He's a new inside linebacker. You try to mirror him, but you got to keep gap integrity right there. And they did a very good job in the first game. But even when you do everything right, you see right now the perimeter play. They keep spilling it and bouncing it. He's looking inside first. They're taking away the inside gaps. When you get outside and you got one-on-one with him with 2 defenders, that's not even a sure thing because this guy can make you miss. He's elusive. He's fast. He can beat you in space, and he's got great balance. And one thing we take away from that, in that first game, he had 10 catches also as a receiver. So he still had 140 total yards. He's a big part of that offense in the backfield and also as a receiver.
Yeah, well, he's obviously a big-time part of that offense. Him and Antonio Brown are the biggest part of that offense. 74% of the yards earned by the Pittsburgh Steelers come through those 2 guys. And that is why I think Bill Belichick is obviously going to have a great plan for them. It's the unsung heroes right here. You know I'm going to talk about a tight end. The 6'7" Jesse James tight end had a huge game. Jesse James slinging it. Had a huge game last week going against this Bill Belichick defense. Another guy to keep an eye out for who can have a big impact on this game is Eli Rogers, slot receiver, quick guy. He can make some plays after the catch. Ben Roethlisberger. If I'm Ben Roethlisberger and I look at this Belichick defense, I know that I got to get the ball to these X factors if I want to have success.
All right, speaking of X Factor and a valuable guy, check this out. Patriots All-Pro special teamer Matthew Slater has been named the recipient of the 2017 Bart Starr Award that's given annually to a player who exemplifies character and leadership on and off the field. Slater now joins his father, Hall of Famer Jackie Slater, as the only father and son to be chosen for this prestigious honor. Time for Who Are You Loving, presented by McDonald's All-Day Breakfast.
Hi. Tonight's game features 2 future Hall of Famers that will battle for a trip to Houston, Texas. That's right, Houston, Texas, the birthplace of NASA's Space City and collegiate home of CBS's very own Jim Nantz, who, as far as we know, has never been to space. But between these guys, 9 Super Bowl starts, 6 Super Bowl wins. Wow! And 7 days ago, the unbelievable happened. Races out! With 6 swings of a leg, one guy joined the most exclusive club in all of professional football, scoring all 18 points to secure the win in their divisional game. A kicker, that's right, a kicker is now an official, unofficial member of the Killer Bees. Move over Ben Brown and Bell and make room for Boswell. That's right, the Killer Bees have found their Ringo star. And tonight's Steeler Nation is banking on their B game in Foxborough, where it's nothing but a B thing, baby. But these 2 other B's, Brady and Double B, have been bringing it with their NFL record 6th straight AFC Championship appearance. And against the boys from the Bird, this combo has never lost at home. It's big, because not since the 2004 season have they met in the playoffs. And for these historic franchises, the B has always been the key in the AFC. Ain't that right, Bradshaw, Bettis, Bledsoe, and Brewski? So tonight the question is not to be or not to be. The question is, who will be the MVP? We'll just have to wait and see.
That's great. You know what, Sean Robbins and his team of animators, they did a sensational job of that. So which B do you love tonight?
Come on, it's got to be Brady. I'm right there with Tony Gonzalez. I can't see 2 subpar games back-to-back. I think they're going to be dialed in on this Pittsburgh defense. I know one thing, it's not Bill. It's Bill Belichick, maybe.
Tell you what, for me, I got 2 Bs for you. Big Ben Roethlisberger. He finally has all his weapons in the playoffs, and he's just going to have to play a patient, clean game, understanding they're going to try and make him make plays. I love when Big Ben speeds, change the tempo up, and go no huddle. I think that'll make that New England defense have to really show their come out of their disguise.
I'm going to say Butler, not Malcolm. How about Keith Butler?
Yeah.
Defensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers, going up against that offense, the no huddle spread. He's going to have to come up with a game plan, and maybe another B on that defense. offense? How about Bud Dupree? Look for him tonight.
Look at you.
Of course you're going to choose a coach. And you know what? I'm going to choose a tight end. How about blocking? But then Martellus Bennett. And 6'6", 275 pounds. Last week, Houston got after Tom Brady. He didn't like that. He was yelling at the refs, yelling at his teammates. This guy is going to be, I don't picture him going out there having big games receiving it, but a big game blocking, protecting the golden boy, Tom Brady, so they can sit back there and shred this defense apart.
I love the fact
Gonzalez talking about blocking.
Blocking.
Yes.
Let's do it. That's
Hey,
how you win.
folks, let's keep the conversation going and welcome in our colleague Jim Rome for his unique take on the game as he shares his vision, views from Rome with us. Take it away, Jim.
JB, thanks so much. Great to be back. Now, I know what a lot of you Steeler fans are thinking, that if the Texans can go into the Pats' house and give them that much trouble, we know we can beat them. Just as you're thinking the Pats have not beaten a decent team in weeks and that Bill Belichick's main strength is taking away the opposition's top weapon, but he won't be able to take away 3 future Hall of Famers. And that Houston may have actually been able to knock off the Patriots if they had anybody other than Brock Osweiler, but it would be a mistake for you to think so. Just as it was a mistake for Antonio Brown to bring the world into their locker room via Facebook Live, but he did, which prompted Belichick to drop this beauty.
As you know, I'm not on Snapface and all that, so I don't really get those. But I'm really just worried about getting our team ready to go. Not really too worried about what they put on Instant Chat or whatever it is.
Rest assured, the hoodie knows exactly what snap face or linked face is and exactly what the opposition is saying on it. Just as we all knew, this is exactly where the Pats would end up, playing for the AFC title for a 6th consecutive year. And you would have to be pretty brass to go against Brady and Belichick in Foxborough, especially in the midst of their scorched earth tour and coming off arguably the worst game of the season. No way Brady and Belichick let that happen 2 weeks in a row. Pats win, JB, and you can post that on InstaFace.
Yes. There's no question my daughter would say, Dad, that's you with this snap face.
Hey, my man Belichick is dressed for the occasion. No selfies here, JB. All he's going to do is coach. He's got to try to figure out a way to stop Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, and, of course, as Bart has been saying all afternoon here, Big Ben Roethlisberger. Cut those sleeves off, boys.
The NFL Today is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. AARP, real possibilities. And by Verizon. Join a better network because better matters.
It's cold and dreary and snowing at the time. You get those butterflies and realize this is the opportunity to get to a Super Bowl.
The Broncos are 98 yards away from where they need to go.
We're down 20-13, and our left guard, Keith Bishop, probably halfway through the TV timeout, finally broke the silence and said, you know what? We got him right where we want him. And he was right.
And Elway's pass is coming and caught. Mark Jackson.
The first thought was just to keep the chains moving and get some momentum.
And the drive and the hopes of Denver still alive. 42 seconds to go. 3rd down and a yard. Elway, the look, the throw. Touchdown!
There's not many feelings better than that other than maybe winning a Super Bowl and my 4 children that I had.
The Denver Broncos win it in overtime.
It's funny how much things can change over the course of 30 years.
And now we're going to the Super Bowl. I can't even explain how I feel.
To go to the Super Bowl, I'd say it's made everything worth it.
But year after year, it's this day that never disappoints.
Throwing in the end zone. Ernest Finer. Fumble the ball. He's going to throw down the middle. He's got a man. The ball is caught. Game over. Touchdown.
It's the AFC Championship on CBS.
And what do you think?
Straight ahead into the end zone. Touchdown on top.
Man, what an accurate throw by Brady. Just put it right on it.
Antonio Brown throws himself across the shop.
Playing for the AFC Championship and a berth on the largest stage in the sport.
Who's going to make a play that we'll be talking about 30 years from now? 30 years, I can't believe that. Golly.
Tell me about it, John, and we'll be watching for that next memorable moment tonight as we turn to the pregame HQ delivered by Domino's. Coach, I know the drive kind of hits hard to you.
Yeah, in 1987, I was a special teams coach with the Cleveland Browns, and the third and 18 pass to Mark Jackson, the ball actually hit off of Watson as he was motioning across. This was not meant to be that day. Kudos to John, but it's not a good memory to bring up, JB. I'd rather move on.
Yeah, Bart, what's happening you on the show today? We know that. Hey, look, just for those who may be tuning over to us, keep in mind the game between, of course, Atlanta and Green Bay. Who would have seen this coming? 44-21. I know the over and under was 61, but I didn't think it would be lopsided this way. But the Falcons, Tony, your guys are doing a phenomenal job.
Absolutely fantastic job at home. And the guy who impressed me the most is Matt Ryan, the guy who, Boomer, you talked about it. This guy is the league MVP this year, and he's kept it up. We always said it coming into this weekend, who had the most pressure on him at the quarterback position out of all four of these great quarterbacks? It was absolutely Matt Ryan, and he came out there and delivered today.
Well, his playoff resume now, the last two games speak for itself, and that's why he will be crowned the MVP. I mean, the vote's already been in, and he had a great 16-game season, now followed up by 2 great playoff games. You know, the interesting thing to me, I watched Julio Jones today. He was a man amongst boys, and going into the game, we all knew that Green Bay had a beat-up secondary, and I love what Kyle Shanahan did here. You know, he went out and he said, you know what? We know they're beat up in the secondary. Let's attack that. That's exactly what they did. The numbers are off the charts for Matt Ryan.
And I just think when you look at the Freeman-Coleman running back situation they have right there, they may be the best tandem of running backs really in the league. And the thing that complements them is their ability to run the football, the play action that comes off of that. Like you said, I think they're the most balanced offense in football, and that's why they're going to the Super Bowl.
Let's get some kudos to this defense that stepped up. You know, Green Bay was in scoring position a couple of times. I think the missed field goal really changed the momentum of the Green Bay Packers, but the fumble recovery down there, let's get some kudos to them because, you know, Green Bay was on fire and it didn't matter. Jordy Nelson come back and they still were able to hold this team to under 22 points.
Well, I was just about to say that about the young guys on Atlanta, they certainly have come of age on the defensive side of the ball. Hey, look, you're talking about AFC Championship games and in a recent year since 03, dominated by some pretty impressive names.
Well, take a look at this. Tom Brady 5 times, Peyton Manning 4 times, Ben Roethlisberger 3 times, and Joe Flacco 1 time. You know, I actually attribute Peyton Manning and his greatness to 2 words, and that's preparation and dedication to your craft and to what you do. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick have taken that to a whole nother level. And one of the reasons why this team is so successful is because that guy right there, Tom Brady, respects his coach. And when his coach gets all over him, he's okay with it. He understands that. He understands that there's a line in between the coach and the player, and if the player does not respect the coach, then they're not going to be successful. So that brilliance has lasted the test of time, and I expect it to last again tonight.
I think one of the X factors in this game, to me, is the offensive line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know, you think about the killer bees, we talk about them, but this offensive line has performed at a very high level. Marquise Pouncey in the middle, Gilbert on the right tackle, DeCastro at the right guard, Ramon Foster left guard, and Villanueva at the left tackle. I think, to me, the offensive line has provided the confidence for him, who's had the lowest sack total in his career this year, and obviously the way they're able to run the ball as well.
Yeah, well, you know, also, too, how about Antonio Brown, the way this guy's played from beginning of the season to the end of the season? You look at the 4 career games against New England, 30 receptions, 377 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's going to be a big part of this game. If the Pittsburgh Steelers want to have success, you get the ball to him, short passes, deep passes, all over the field. He has become one of the best receivers in the league, him and Julio Jones, and become somewhat unstoppable.
Well, for me, you talk about Mike Tomlin, his ability to kind of get the troops refocused. I know the Facebook Live, thing was a distraction. You want to make sure that that doesn't, affect the game today. Also, for me, it's Ryan Shazier. Ryan Shazier matched up against Deion Lewis, who was the star last week, and he's going to have to make sure that he stays in phase with him and not panic. He has the speed to stay in phase with Deion Lewis, and he's going to have to ask for a little hamburger helper from Bud Dupree when he tries to run that wheel route.
2 things, one is that if Antonio Brown's going to be returning punts, which we all think he's going to do, if you are New England, do not punt him the football. It's been somewhat of a disaster for New England on special teams this year, so that's a place where maybe Pittsburgh can pick up a little bit of an advantage. The other thing, you can't settle for field goals like they did last week against Kansas City. You are not playing against Alex Smith and that Kansas City offense. You're playing against one of the most dynamic offenses in football.
And before I take care of some housekeeping business here, I can't help but mention that John Madden is at home smiling, hearing Bill Cowher talk about the action in the trenches. We can talk about the skilled players, and they deserve it, but it does start in the trenches for sure. All right, with that in mind, hey, look, game time has been slipped. The kickoff has been kicked back to 6:45 right now. Will be 6:40, 6:45 because of the previous game. So time now for our picks. The AFC title game, Steelers, Patriots. Start with Boomer. Who you like?
I'm going to go with the New England Patriots, guys. I just don't think Tom Brady's going to have a subpar game. I think they'll have that great package, spread them out, up-tempo, the whole thing, a lot of short, quick passes, and they will find the mismatches with the wheel routes, as you were talking about, with Deion Lewis and James White. I like them 31-24.
For me, it starts and ends with Ben Roethlisberger, his maturity as a quarterback over the years. You remember Ben Roethlisberger as a young quarterback, not really being able to decipher what a defense was trying to do to you. But now he plays the defense on a whole nother level. I think Big Ben gets it done. He eats this defense alive. I think Pittsburgh wins 34-24.
The offense, and I'm going with the Pittsburgh defense. In this 9-game winning streak, they've been the best defense in football. I think they continue again tonight. I like Pittsburgh 27-20.
I'm going to go New England Patriots 28-17. And I'll tell you why, because they did not play well last week. And we talked about it earlier in the show. I'm telling you right now, don't go against a Hall of Famer when he doesn't play well the week before, especially, I'm talking about Bill Belichick as well. This team is not going to be rusty like they were last week.
Well, let me tell you, our guy Tony Gonzalez was back cheering the Atlanta Falcons on.
Yeah.
They win it 44-21 over the Green Bay Packers. Atlanta moving on to its second ever Super Bowl appearance. Coming up, folks, it's game time here on CBS. Steelers, Patriots for the AFC title and a record 9th trip to the Super Bowl. See you back at halftime.
Tiger returns and joins the world's best, including Phil Mickelson, Ricky Fowler, and Jason Day. The Farmers Insurance Open next weekend on CBS.